Welcome to Ferrarinators Hall of Fame, and tonight we're going to talk about the Opel GT, built from 1968 till 1973, then from 2007 till 2009, also known as the Mini Macro Shark. Let's explore the history of this car, then I'll finally talk about why this car deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. The Opel GT started out as a concept in 1965, debuting at IAA, also known as Frankfurt Motor Show, being called Opel GT Experimental. It received huge praise from public to critics alike. Then a year later, the decision was to make this car into production. 1968, the GT rolled out of production with a 1.1 litre 4-cylinder engine producing 67 to 100 brake horsepower. It may seem weak, but with the weight of 2,000 pounds or 907 kilograms. Somehow the Europeans had more power with 120 brake horsepower. Finally, it had a 5-speed gearbox that was auto to match with that. The Opel GT is most known for Get Smart, a spy comedy, when the final season, Agent 99 swaps the Carmen gear for the Opel GT. In its lifetime, the GT produced 100,000, which 70,000 were sold in North America. Then they made another concept in 1975 called Opel GT2, and it debuted at the Frankfurt IAA car show. This car resembles wedge-shaped cars of the 70s, as they were designed to be as aerodynamic as possible. 22 years later, Opel used the GM Kappa chassis, so they decided to revive the GT name. The design was inspired by the Vauxhall Lightning, which looks slick. The GT replaced the Opel Speedster in the Europe lineup, but for the UK, they didn't have a Speedster replacement. The new Opel GT was a failure in my opinion, and in the numbers. First, look at this car. It looks tired and drab, and it was built on a tiny budget. Secondly, it was not unique enough for me to care. And finally, it just existed for random sake, I guess. With the Opel GT, it sold terribly. Within the first year, they sold 2,365. Then the next year, 4,851. And the year after that, 301. Then for the 2010 edition, they sold 2, which is the most exclusive car to date from GM. Last year, in Geneva Motor Show, Opel has brought back their Mini Macro Shark. Its looks are mixing the future with the past. Let's start with the future. 1. The family face in the Vauxhall/Opel range. 2. The red accents that I doubt will be in the production model. 3. There are more aerodynamic side creases. And 4. Rear lights. Throughout the past, I've only got one thing. The windows are similar to the original. Do I think this car will come out? Maybe, if Peugeot or Citroën had the guts to. Also, if they did execute it, will they do it right? Yes, better than GM can. I like the Opel GT due to designer Claire McKitchen, who designed the Chevrolet Corvette, Corsa and Camaro, who wanted this car to look like a mini Corvette. Secondly, the story from a near-perfect car to a dull sports car to a fresh sports car. Thirdly, rotating lights. I've always had a thing for lights that had features. The Ferrari F40 had flipping up lights that made it flawless, but the Opel GT had better lights. They rotated. Why do I like that? Just 'cause. Fourthly, it was a proper driver's car in any way and shape. For a fact, I haven't driven any car in the world unless it's in the Forza saga. My preferences are quick cars, but this is a great handling car because it's super light, but it isn't powerful, or it accelerated quickly. Finally, this is based on the Opel Kadett, which chassis is similar to Top Gear's Oliver, Richard Hammond's car. Tell a lie, it's similar to the Kadett A, but it's the Kadett B, which is a successor to A. Conclusion: why was this car great? Simply, it was fun to drive, it had rotating lights, and that there was a lot of effort poured into it. So that's why the Opel GT is in the Hall of Fame. What did you think of this car? Do you drive it? Please tell me your thoughts in the comments below. And for next week, this video is based on Vauxhall and Peugeot. What will the future be? Please press the icon of the thumbs up or down, and please press the subscribe thing. On that bombshell, good night.